Right. So welcome everybody to Healy Wellness Wednesday. So excited to have you all here and talk about one of my favorite things, which is gut health and the foundation of all of our health and healing, really. This is where it begins. So I'm going to share a presentation. All right. Does everybody see that? Okay, so this is hosted by myself and Jenny, and this is really about Healy product knowledge and empowerment. So learning about the programs, learning how to use them, additional information to support these programs. This is not in any way meant to be medical advice. So please consult physicians or practitioners if you do have questions like that. So that's just my little preamble of disclaimer. So the Healy World mission is to create revolutionary products and opportunities to empower you to thrive and live a life of freedom, passion, and joy. And it's really offering frequencies that support your life. And the Healy vision is to empower people to live a healthy, fulfilled, and conscious life, and to inspire our growing community to make a continuous positive impact on humanity. So this is the one thing that I love about Healy and Healy World is just it's really bridging the gap between the science and the spirituality and the altruism, and really just sharing this. And everybody that I've met through this organization is really, has such a profound story and personal experience of just using it in their own life and having such profound results, and then also just sharing it from this place of open-heartedness and altruism, just really wanting to help everyone achieve their best selves, their best health, their best life and wealth in all the ways. So on the last call 2 weeks ago, we talked about the Healy Blue Dot resonance analysis. That replay is on the YouTube channel, on my YouTube channel, and there's also a link in the Telegram group. So if you wanted the links to that, we can provide that. But today we're going to talk about the power of three. So we're going to talk about the power of three programs and the protocol. We're going to touch upon Ayurveda and gut health, and then also supportive frequencies and programs that you can use in addition to the power of three. So if you're not familiar with this, these are digital Ayurvedic frequencies, and it's really based on the ancient system of three natural energetic forces. So these are expressed in the tri-doshas, which is the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and we'll dive into that a little bit later. And then, of course, there are the rife frequencies. But basically, these are three groups, and each group contains three programs. And we're going to dive into each one of these programs and discuss the protocol. I'm really excited. I've done this one now. I'm on my third round of doing the Power of Three 9-week protocol, and it's just been incredible for my health, for my digestive health, and just clearing brain fog, and just really activating amazing things in my health and my life. So the Power of Three programs were designed to rebalance your energy field after a bioenergetic event. So these can be physical stressors like accident, injury, illness, vaccine. They even say things like loud noises, but any kind of, if we feel like we're bioenergetically thrown off, these are really nice programs to use to support that and bring it back into balance. They can also be used if you have any kind of energetic or emotional imbalances going on in your life, or anything that might be negatively affecting you or challenging your bioenergetic fields. So as I mentioned, this is a 9-week protocol, and they used to have these structured in order, and now they've kind of restructured it. But basically, in the third row down here, we have conflict balance, defense support, and then friendly flora. So you run those like conflict balance on Monday, defense support Wednesday, friendly flora on Friday. So you're just running these once a week for each one, and you run those for 3 weeks. So every Monday you run conflict balance for weeks 1, 2, and 3, defense support on Wednesday, 1, 2, and 3 weeks, and friendly flora. And then you move to the next set of 3, which is the universal frequencies. And you would run those Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And of course, the days are optional. You can run them on other days, but they do say to leave a day in between to really allow the frequencies to integrate and do their work, their magic in your digestive health and in your bioenergetic field. So these are just suggestions. It makes it easy. You just know you run them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then in the final week, or the final 3 weeks rather, you're running the digital Ayurveda frequencies, the Kapha, Pitta, and Vata. So in the first set of 3, we have conflict balance, which helps emotional, mental, and physical stress. It also reveals hidden and permanent conflicting processes that could use rebalancing. So this is the one that you would run on Monday. And then on the Wednesday, you would run defense support, which is really helping with any external challenges, helping us to accept change, and really preventing the weakening and an imbalance in our bioenergetic defense system. So this is, there's like our immune system, but not just our physical immune system. This can be, we have interaction with all sorts of energies in our bioenergetic field. And so really supporting that and creating a really strong defense support for ourselves. And then on the Friday for the first 3 weeks, we would run friendly flora. So the friendly flora frequencies are meant to help with relationships with the microorganisms. This is bacteria and the pathogens that exist in our digestive system, but also, energetically that surround us, as well as helping with a mental and emotional balance. So then after you run those 3 programs for the first 3 weeks, we move on to the universal frequencies, which would be week 4, 5, and 6. So again, on Monday, you would run classical physical. On Wednesday, you would run classical energetic. And then on Friday, you would run the Zapper protocol, which is amazing. And the Zapper protocol is really designed for harmonization of the bioenergetic field as well as a parasitic bioenergetic field. So these ones are parasite protocols or parasite frequencies. And the classical physical and classical energetic, these are rife frequencies. So if you're not familiar with the rife frequencies, Jenny, you wanted to share a bit about the rife frequencies and the technology behind that?
Hello, yes, I can. I think it's really cool to know a little bit about the history of Royal Rife if you don't already, because as you continue building your business or using Healy in general, you definitely will be asked from time to time, oh, how does this compare to Rife or other types of frequency machines or devices? And Rife frequencies are a really popular one. Royal Rife, if you don't know, was basically the first one in the 20s to create a machine that used electromagnetic frequencies to work on the cellular level. He actually was the first one to discover that all microorganisms gave off an auric field in the 20s, and he invented his own microscope to be able to see this, to actually enlarge these microscopic energies up to 60,000 times, I think is what I read. But yeah, really cool and extremely innovative. Obviously, definitely way ahead of his time, just like those that came before him, that he focused this machine off of Nikola Tesla and Abrams and his forefathers of frequencies. And then in the 30s, he started actually recording his curing of cancer. He was curing people of cancer by being able to get down into the very frequency that these microorganisms were giving off and the viruses. And he discovered that each thing actually had a very specific frequency. And so by using that frequency, by matching that frequency, he was able to literally explode the cancer cells. And this was happening in the 30s. But then, of course, as we know, That is not what the FDA wanted. So they basically shut him down, burned his labs, all of his data. Um, and he had created the Zapper protocol, like she said, for harmonization of the parasitic bioenergetic field. So a little bit more specific with these frequencies to kill off parasites. He actually learned that because before they were killing off the head of parasite or the larger parasite, but parasites often come with smaller parasites that are feeding off of it. And what was happening is that they were discovering that once you killed the head, all of these mini parasites, if you will, for lack of a better term, were getting into the bloodstream and causing a lot of different sicknesses and illnesses. So he actually discovered that, and that starting from the smallest to the largest was how you get rid of parasites. And so this is where his Zapper protocol came in. And then also, so after he was labeled a quack and he wasn't allowed to work anymore, anyone who was using his frequencies or this technique, they would be put in jail. They would be put in jail basically for doing so. And then it was actually in the 80s that Dr. Hulda Clark, she started studying this, and she was like kind of the godmother of parasite cleansing, if you will. You should totally look her up. She's super amazing. And she started using these Zapper protocols, and she created her own Zapper frequency device, which you actually can still get today. But again, she was labeled a quack. They didn't like her working in the States, so she hightailed it to Mexico and continued her work there, which is really interesting. So yeah, definitely look into that. But I think it's amazing to know that we have all of these amazing frequencies within our beautiful device. Healy is really a one-stop shop. So yeah, just touching there on that there.
Thanks, Jenny. So these ones are near and dear to my heart and my work. My specialty is really working with cancer patients to help them rebalance and reverse their illness. And rife frequencies comes up quite often for me. And my understanding is that the rife frequencies, when he created his original device, offered 40,000 different frequencies. And so while Healy offers these rife frequencies, obviously the technology has expanded and our understanding of quantum physics has expanded. And so now the Healy offers millions of different frequencies. So sometimes I get that question about the rife frequency versus the Healy. So there are rife frequencies in the Healy programs, but Healy does offer more than the frequencies that were originally there. And Hulda Clark
And
is
it's also
I actually learned so. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that it's also, important to say that with using the rife machine, you only are using a very specific frequency set for each protocol, right? Whereas when you're using them within the Healy, because of our amazing quantum sensor, it's really individualized. So it's only going to give your body which one you need in real time, so that is what's really setting us apart, as you all know.
Yeah. And the Zapper protocol as well. This one has been amazing. On a personal level, I live in the tropics. Parasites are a huge issue for people living in, well, anywhere in the world, but particularly in the tropics. I've had a lot of challenges with parasites over the years living here. And since I have run this protocol, as I said, I'm on my third protocol now of with the power of 3. And I've had no symptoms. I mean, it's been amazing in terms of providing my body support, preventing the parasites from taking hold in my digestive system and my brain, because it affects when they're in my digestive system. Then I have all sorts of like brain fog and mental clarity problems and memory. And so this protocol in particular has been a really amazing one for me. I also use it even when I'm not doing the power of 3. So I tend to run it every couple of weeks, just as a maintenance. And so That's estimated that 80% of the population worldwide has some level of parasites, and there are some experts that estimate that that's even higher. So these ones are really great for maintenance and supporting your gut health and helping keep parasites at bay. So after you've run those set of 3 for 3 weeks, then we move on to the digital Ayurveda for weeks 7, 8, and 9. And so Ayur means life in Sanskrit, and Veda means science of knowledge. And so Ayurveda means the science of knowledge of life. And this has been around for 3,000 years. It originated in India, and it's really a beautiful science. I'm not an expert in Ayurveda. I do have an understanding about it, and they have within Ayurvedic we have 3 doshas. So there's Kapha, Pitta, and Vata, and so we all tend to have a dominant one. And there are things that you can do some tests online to discover which one is your dominant one. But even though we have a dominant one, the other ones are still present in our energy field, within our constitution. And so by running all 3, you're really balancing that out within your body. And I took this information from the Healy Power of 3 document. And so in terms of kapha, this is located in the bones, the muscles, and the tendons. It acts as a binding agent to keep our cells together and to really keep the body moist. So this relates to joints, skin hydration, and also our defense or immune system. And when our kapha is in balance, then it's synonymous with love, calmness, and also with forgiveness. And pitta is responsible for more stability of the body and the mind. It regulates our body heat, our digestion, absorption and assimilation of nutrients. It lightens the appetite. It gives us vitality and our ability to understand. And it also nourishes the body. And then vata encompasses the colon, the pelvis, the pelvic organs, the thighs, the skin, the ears, the nervous system, and the lungs. And so this is responsible also for movement of the body and the mind. And its main functions include sensory impulses, breath, excretion, and also speech. So you would run the kapha on Monday, the pitta on Wednesday, and again the vata on Friday, and you would do that for 3 weeks. So you're just running each one once a week for a 3-week protocol. And so this is according to an interview that I listened to with Marcus Schmiecki, where he was talking about the Power of 3 program, and he said that basically by using this 9-week protocol, one by one, each of these 3 groups really harmonize the underlying energetic conflicts. So whether those are physical, mental, or emotional, they're harmonizing our energetic defense system. So this is sort of our energetic, but also our physiological immune system. And then also harmonizing the energetic foundations in our intestinal flora. So communication between the bacteria and the pathogens, that the healthy ones that live in our digestive system and in our energetic system, and we're constantly interacting with them. So it's really harmonizing through the frequency protocols and the programs to harmonize this within our body so that we have this beautiful synergy and everything is optimally flowing. And by running these and harmonizing all of this in turn affects our psyche and also our energetic balance. And he's quoted saying that in this manner, then the energetic balance and well-being can be restored within our body. Another interview that I was listening to with Ken Close, he was talking about the 3 different programs, and he was saying that the first set of programs is really about grounding. The second one was about rebalancing, and then this one is kind of resetting and just really harmonizing everything and bringing it into a beautiful flow. And so in terms of our gut health is foundational for your health. So if you want optimal immunity, digestion, you want mental clarity, you want an abundance of energy, you want your hormones and your thyroid function to be optimized, then you need to focus on rebuilding your gut health. And Ayurveda understood this. They've been teaching this for 3,000 years. They really believe that digestion and gut health really play a leading role in immunity. And now we have an understanding that 80 to 90% of our immune system or immune cells are actually located within our gut. And so the 2 are interchangeable. It's you optimize your gut health, you boost your immune system. With a strong immune system, you tend to have a robust gut health system. And so they're all just flowing nicely and really working together. And I mean, we're not a closed container. Everything, all of our organs, all of our systems, everything is interacting always. And so to really be working with these protocols to balance the microorganisms within our gut so that we have the optimal good versus bad bacteria within our digestive system, then we have this beautiful communication. We have everything communicating nicely. We have energy flowing. We don't have stagnancy of our energy. And then that allows us to have this abundance of energy and have this vitality when everything is communicating nicely and functioning well. Does anybody have experience with Ayurveda and they want to share maybe some of their understanding? I'm open to that as well. Cassie, you've studied a little bit about Ayurveda. Have you?
Yeah, for sure. Yes, I am so you explained it all very well. We have three different doshas that we all have that, when they get out of balance. So, like, for example, when I have a little bit of depression, that means that my kapha is really out of balance. So I will eat. So I love cheeses, and I love pastas, and I used to eat lots of breads, and I had to shift all of that because that really put my kapha out of balance. And I would wake up really lethargic or really heavy, and I had a lot of brain fog. So I will eat things that are a little more spicy, so that I can create a little more heat in my body and that my digestion can, um, pick back up. Um, and so let's say I'm pitta vata, pitta dominant. So like, let's say I get a little bit too riled up, let's say, then I want to eat, I'll like do a cold press juice, and so that'll calm my pitta a little bit. So I'll eat more cooling foods like a salad or, a green shake or something like that that will help kind of balance that. So, and then with my vata, that's kind of, I can get a little detached or, kind of not really disassociate so much, but just kind of, be a little, not as grounded as maybe I would want to be. And so then yes, exactly, Jenny. 100%. So then I will eat things like legumes or lentils and so forth, kind of soups that'll kind of ground me and be a little bit more warming. And so it's just a really lovely way to really look at food as being very medicinal. And when I start craving cheeses, which I haven't had any dairy in probably a year or so, but like if I get a lot of anxiety, I'll start craving the cheeses and the kind of the heavy stuff. And so, I just have to kind of look at that and observe it, and then I can use foods to kind of help mitigate.
Awesome. Thanks. So yeah, my understanding of Ayurveda is really focused on using food as medicine. Also, a lot of detoxification protocols to clear out some of this. So Jenny, you were saying like the elements, where they also, like in Chinese medicine, where there's dampness or there's heat, and Ayurveda works similarly with different spices, different herbs, different detoxification protocols to balance that out, right? So if you have too much heat, to create more dampness or foster more of that to clear the heat from the body, to rebalance. And so that you now we have these frequencies that we can run. So maybe if we have this understanding of our health and that awareness, that then we can use this protocol to kind of balance out the system and um, really feel balanced and healthy. Also, what they've added, newly added, I'm just going to go back here because in this 9-week protocol, they talk about the 9, but now recently they've added in this rebalance at the bottom, and it's 102 minutes of pure amazingness. Even when I'm not doing the Power of 3 protocol, I run rebalance every Sunday. So it's like a complete rebalance for me of the week, and it just helps me feel really grounded and balanced. And then I can start off my week feeling that I'm recharged and reset. So this rebalance one, it's actually my, like, I would have to say my favorite program with Healy right now. And I've been doing this one. I've been running it every Sunday for probably like 6 weeks now, and it's amazing. Okay, so in addition to the Power of Three programs, so when you're running those on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I just wanted to offer some other supportive frequencies and programs that I have found that support the Power of Three protocol as well as enhance it. So for me on Mondays, prior to running whichever one I'm running on that particular day, I tend to run a gold cycle in advance. So I might, and I just see that as, as because the gold cycle frequencies of the programs are foundational and sort of resetting. I like to start with the gold cycle. I run one of those. Typically, I'll run pure or balance, and then I will follow with one of the Power Three, whichever one I'm running on that particular day. And then deep cycle. So sorry, within the gold cycle, all of them are amazing. I'm a big fan of those ones. But in particular, supportive for this Power of Three protocol, pure, care, balance, which is really, about flowing everything, balancing through the body from lymphatic system to blood flow to hormones. And then in the evening, relax and release is really nice as well. With the Power of Three, we are releasing a lot. So when you're running, especially the first three, the bioenergetic rebalance ones, you might have detoxification symptoms. You might find that your bowels release more, that you're going to the bathroom more frequently. And so the release is a nice supportive program to run with that as well. Any of the deep cycle is going to the root cause, is going deeper into our harmony and our energy field. And these are all amazing. So if you don't have these in the longer microcurrent frequencies, you can also vibrate them in the Resonance app. But in particular, Digest All, which helps us not only completely digest our food, but also digest experiences, process any kind of memory or any negative energy that we may be hanging on to, and really just allowing that to digest and process out of our energetic fields. Clean All, and then any of the kidneys. I'm all about the kidneys these days, and really that is our batteries. It's our it's our door of life, and really focusing on kidney strength and kidney health can really contribute to overall gut health as well. Within the meridians 1, we have small intestine and large intestine, fatty degeneration, and also gallbladder, again, which are really great for digestion. Within meridians 2, liver. I think all of us could use liver programs. And then also lungs, which are huge detoxification organs. Our lungs, we process a lot through our breathing, and then we release a lot through that as well, through our exhalation. So really the lungs and the large intestine, these are our massive detoxification organs. Of course, our skin as well. But so in meridians 2, we have liver, lungs, stomach, spleen and pancreas, and kidneys. So all of these are just, they're all part of the digestive system, and so these are really meant to enhance and augment the Power of Three protocol. Within bioenergetic harmony 1, we have immune system and intestine. And then in bioenergetic harmony 2, there's gastrointestinal, bacteria. And this is not just for releasing or getting rid of bacteria, but also balancing, balancing the good bacteria and improving that communication with the bacteria and digestive system, and coordinating. Our bacteria in our gut actually create neurotransmitters, they create B vitamins, they actually produce a lot for us that contribute to our health. So it's not just about getting rid of the bacteria, but really harmonizing and optimizing the good bacteria as well. And then we have toxins and liver. So these are just suggestions based on my personal experience. And then within fitness, we have weight, which is really about getting cellular waste out of the cells. So that's a great one as well. Circulation, again, just moving everything and circulating everything nicely through the body, as well as regeneration. And then in the job programs, we have fatigue, exhaustion, and stress. So as we know, any kind of internal or external stress can create imbalances within our digestive system. So running these frequencies are really supportive to our whole system, including our adrenals, or for our mental well-being, and everything's interacting all the time. And so these are super supportive for helping us feel calmer, helping calm our nervous systems, so that we're in more of this sort of rest, digest, and repair parasympathetic state. And then as well, any of the mental balance programs I think are amazing that supports all of our health, including our digestion. And then, of course, digital nutrition is like my favorite of all of the ones. Of all of the programs, I love digital nutrition. And so I listed just a couple of here. I think there's so many more within, but I didn't want to overwhelm. But just the primary ones that I find would be, or my suggestions for supporting particularly the power of three, would be the gastrointestinal system, immune system, our liver, the B vitamins, again, which are, a lot of them are precursors to neurotransmitters, which are produced in our gut and sent to our brain, as well as regeneration. So a couple of key nutrients that when you're looking at the digital nutrition handout, and it has all of the listed nutrients or vitamins and supplements, anything that has B vitamins in it, anything with glutathione, methionine, these ones are all really, really great for digestive health. I'm sure there's many more. If anybody else has any that they would suggest, please share. But these are it's a lot. So typically what I do is, as I said, I run a gold cycle and then run the Power of Three program on that particular day. And so a lot of these I'm using on the alternate days. So I might use, focus on one particular organ system and run it for that week. Use those ones that I'm supporting with, based on where my digestion is at, or where I might be feeling energetically that I need the support, and kind of either using the analysis and the suggestions that they provide, or else just sort of following intuition of where, when you scan your body, and having that awareness of like what could use which organ systems, or what could use the most support right now, and selecting based on that. So
I have one question.
Okay.
Amy has asked, using the coil good with these or direct current better? And of course, your coil is absolutely amazing because you can use and run these programs constantly, right? But with it's with the protocols that Andrea is giving you, they're based on using the microcurrent, right? Using the bands. That is my understanding anyway, because that's going to affect you the most cellularly, and you'll see the most direct change the quickest. Is that how you feel, Andrea?
Yeah, definitely. I would say for the Power of Three programs, it's listed in all the Healy documentation. It does list them as IMF programs, which are direct current. So using the wrist straps with the wires attached to the Healy and running it that way. I would say for any of maybe the supportive frequencies that I've suggested, or anything outside of the protocol, using the coil is great. So the Power of Three, depending on the edition that you have, this may not be included. So you can, if you were interested and you wanted to run this, you can purchase them separately for a one-time fee, and then you have access to this program group. If it's not included, you can also use it in the resonance. You can do the analysis now for that and vibrate. Of course, the 9-week protocol is intended to be used with the microcurrents. So. And then I just wanted to share our June promos. And so right now you can get the Healy Professional for half the price and a coil included. And also the second offer that Healy's offering right now is upgrading. If you have a Healy Resonance, you can upgrade to the Professional for €900, which is a 62% saving. And so upgrading from the Resonance to the Professional, you get access to the digital nutrition, you get access to the bioenergetic vitalization, which are anti-aging and stem cell frequencies. These are amazing. You have access to the personal and success coach module. You get the deep cycle programs, the Power of Three, as well as the Heal Advisor search function, which I think everybody has access to now. Anyway. And so You can join us on our Telegram group, as I mentioned before. But if you would like, because this is not a sort of technical training, this is just sort of empowerment and really sharing our experience and knowledge around the programs. We do have more technical focused calls and trainings. So there's Tech Tip Tuesday on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And this is really meant like if you're having technical challenges or you want to know more about the technology, this is a question and answering kind of call, and anybody can join that. And then on Thursdays, there is Healy for beginners and beyond. And if there's any other information, then you please check with the person that shared this with you for more training and info. We have so much information and groups, and they're all kind of in different places. So really checking in with somebody. If you do have questions or you want more information, then please just checking in with the person that shared this with you and accessing that information, because there is so much out there to learn and it can be a lot. But we're all here to help empower you, to give you the knowledge and really the tools so that you can use this device in the best way possible to get phenomenal results. So does anybody have any questions? Anybody want to share their experience of running the Power of Three? Otherwise, I can share a bit about mine. So when I first did the Power of Three, I started in November, and sort of a backstory is when I was in my early 20s, I was diagnosed with celiac disease. So I haven't really eaten gluten for 20 years. Before gluten-free was a thing and there was not many options for gluten-free, I was doing that. And I had to be really careful about what I ate. I had to be really cautious when I ate out. The symptoms. It's interesting because it's evolved over time, but in my 20s, if I had gluten or had any exposure to gluten, I would get really stabbing pains in my digestive system. Interestingly, when I was pregnant, it was a complete buffer and I could eat whatever I wanted, which was amazing. And then post-pregnancy, it shifted from digestive system into more brain effects. So then after that, I was noticing that if I had exposure to gluten, I get really bad brain fog. I wouldn't be able to focus. It really impacted my sleep and my mood. And so what I've noticed by doing the Power of Three, so digestive health has been on my radar for decades now because I've been doing this work. I've done all the cleanses out there. I've learned all the information, not all of it, but a lot of information about gut health and really how to clear and optimize through detoxification protocols and supplements, using food as medicine. I just really run the gamut in terms of, for me. But when I ran the Power of Three, while I'm really aware of my digestive health, after the first time I ran it, it was like taking my gut health to the next level. By the time I finished my 9-week protocol, my digestion was on point. And I was, I've had regular, wasn't having any kind of bloating or any kind of symptoms related to food. And now that I'm on my third go at the Power of Three, I've actually started to play a little bit with some gluten. Like if I make it at home and I'm sourcing all of my ingredients, I have noticed that I'm able to tolerate some gluten. Now, I'm not saying that the Power of Three can heal that necessarily, but for me, that's been my experience where now I'm not having the negative symptoms that I had previously where I had exposure. On an energetic level and an emotional level, it's been, like the digest all that I was speaking about in the deep cycle. I've noticed through running the Power of Three that I've been able to digest experiences, trauma, negative things that I've had in my life in the past that, maybe always kind of subtly playing in the background. I feel like I've been able to let go of those. So almost like I've completely digested those and they're no longer relevant in my life, which is amazing. And then also just like I mentioned about the parasites as well, I'm just not having the issues that I had previously with parasites living in the tropics. Before I was having to do parasite cleanses every 3 to 4 months. And I think I've done one since I've run the power of three. So just on a personal level, it's been amazing. And now starting to play around frequencies, as I mentioned, about really optimizing organ function and how we start to see our digestive health beyond just our digestive system, but all of the supportive organs around it. And so starting to use the optimizing that organ function and just noticing how this is like these subtle layers that happen in our life when we start to bring everything back into balance of just feeling vital, right? Like this has been the thing of like Healy coming into my life for the first time ever in my adult life. I actually feel vital, like I have vitality again, which is phenomenal. And I know that the power of three has been instrumental in that. So that's my experience with power of three. So I highly recommend that if you have this program, if you're interested, then, you know, the best way to really achieve your health is taking ownership for it and being accountable and doing the things that will support our health and our vitality. So if you haven't
That's
tried
so
it,
great.
you haven't.
I have not really delved into it as much as I should. I really need to go through the protocols and do the protocols. I'm very much that mindset where it's like someone's like, "Oh, you need to do this protocol." I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm going to go straight for this," And so I use the Zapper protocol quite often because I do a lot of parasite cleansing with my kids, especially because they love to play in the dirt and they love to, be gross and pick up all kinds of things, and what lives in the dirt. It's lots of little tiny parasites. And so I use the Zapper along with, things like toxins and bacteria and that kind of thing. And but yeah, I'm really excited to dive into it a little bit more and do the actual protocols, especially when it comes to the Ayurveda, because, like I mentioned to you before, Andrea, I do have a mentor. You guys might have heard her speak before, Susan Proctor. That is her realm. She is, an Ayurvedic practitioner. And so listening to her is just absolutely mind blowing. And she did, my Vedic charts and everything. And because she's been doing this for, God, like over 40 years, she knew right away. She's like, this is what you are. You are this, and this. But my charts read differently. And she's like, oh, well, your charts actually say you're this. And we got into a conversation about pregnancy because, when you do become pregnant, it's not just the hormones that change your body, but you actually have these new cells from this new life force that are literally now part of your body. And so your cell structure changes, and like it's like changing your DNA as well, right? That's kind of like what we were talking about. And she's like, oh, well, she did my daughter's chart, and everything that she thought that would come up in my chart is my daughter's chart. And I was like, that's really interesting. I know. So that is something that like is super intriguing, and I would love to learn more about. I mean, the human body is just so amazing, right? And it's just ever evolving and ever changing. And I just, yeah, so that was when you mentioned that about pregnancy, and because now I love spicy foods. Now I can't eat spicy foods. It immediately gives me heartburn. I mean, there's just so many things that have changed since pregnancy, but I found that really interesting that she had told me what she thought that I was in my Vedic chart, and it's actually my daughter. So pretty cool. But I really should dive into it more. And if anyone once, if you don't have access to the boards app, because that what Andrea was speaking on when Marcus talks about the protocol, about the power of three, that's in the boards app. So please ask somebody to have to send you that or to get you access to that, because he talks a lot about it in response to people who have had a lot of issues with since taking the vaccine as well, you know, so a lot of people who have issues because of COVID, things like that. So so definitely check that out.
Yeah, there is a study that Healy published as well where they had one control group that was doing the power of three, and then they had another group that had taken the vaccine. And actually, the group that had the vaccine benefited more from the power group also benefited from it. But the group that took the vaccine and then ran the power of three had even more impact on their health and well-being and their recovery. So it was great that you mentioned that. Eva Maria also asked, would you scan yourself on it and then follow the scan, or rather follow the protocol? So, I mean, you can do either, but my understanding is that when you run the protocol, it's the 9 weeks and you follow that. And I think that's probably where people would get the most benefit. I think doing the scan and using the vibration mode around that is good in a protocol. So outside of that 9 weeks, I think you can do that way. That's just my thoughts on that. But definitely going through the protocol and adhering to that for the 9 weeks is really profound.
Thank you, Andrea. And one last question, because I was like in and out here with reception. So the Rebalance one, you would run then on Sundays, or where would you squeeze in the Rebalance?
So Marcus recommended running it once a week. I think on the weekend is really nice. It's 102 minutes, so it's long.
Okay.
So I like to run mine on Sundays. I feel like it's a nice reset for the following week. So that's just personally what I found works for me. But I do think running it on another day that you're not also following the protocol is good.
And what was again the idea? Because that was introduced later, the Rebalance, is that correct? As I recall, that was added on a little bit later after they launched the Power of Three. That came in a few weeks later. And what again is the content of the Rebalance? Like, what's the idea and intention behind that?
So my understanding is that the Rebalance is just meant to be that. It's like a rebalance of all of the bioenergetic system, and it's supporting all three of those programs. So it's not, with the first bioenergetic rebalance, you're running that for the first 3 weeks, and then you're moving on to the universal frequencies. The Rebalance is meant to be used throughout the 9-week protocol.
Thank you. Perfect. Awesome. Thanks.
And then Catherine is asking about the Boards app. So we have, there's an app called the Boards. This is called Boards. And we have a Healy, is called Healy Oracle. And there's a wealth of information in there that we use on our team. And so we can share that, yeah? All that information is in there. All of the science and the programs and interviews.
That's from Eva.
Yeah, I created it to make life a little easier. It's meant for members because there's a lot of information in there too for business building, but there is also a lot of information on the modules, training on, the different categories of the Healys. So it has the best of both worlds, product knowledge and business knowledge. Excuse me, Catherine, who's your upline sponsor? Because or I can reach out to you too and help you after this and get you the correct info. I did create one also for customers, so they're not faced with the business side of it, so I can revive that. I haven't really shared it too much, but I could launch that too. Okay, it's Bonnie. Okay, perfect. So I'll be in touch, Catherine.
And she says she signed up as a member.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can be in there. I mean, just disregard the business side of things if you're not into, actually sharing and building the business. But there's beautiful, beautiful content of all the voices of Healy. Ken Close, Andrea's recordings are in there, and Michelle Patrick and everyone. So yeah, I can help with that, Catherine.
Michelle also did cheat codes for gut health not that long ago, and the cheat codes too. So it's amazing. It's an amazing interview. If you want additional information of the gut health is supported for the power of 3 as well. So if anybody hasn't watched that yet, I highly recommend it. But thank you, Eva Maria, for creating the boards app. I use it on a daily basis. It's a wealth of information, and it's really a one-stop for accessing all Healy information and frequencies. Okay, does anybody have any last questions? Anybody want to share? Otherwise, we can wrap up for today. I'm always open to suggestions for topics for calls, so please feel free to share that in the chat or drop it in the message if there's something that you do want to learn more about that we can dive deeper into as a community. It's really just everybody supporting each other and really feeling empowered with the technology. So otherwise, we'll wrap up for today.
Thank you, Andrea. You're such a legend. Your knowledge is amazing. When I first, before I joined Healy, I thought the gut was just, your bowels. Like, I mean, your like intestines. I had no idea the vastness of gut health. And when I really started using Healy, and that's when I really started learning more about my body and the miracle that it is. So yeah, thank you so much for doing these calls. It's such a blessing to have you and your wealth of knowledge.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, you guys.